Hello, everyone. This is a little part where we tell you that last time when we sped up the episode did not go so well.
We saw in the YouTube comments a number of you just prefer it regular speed, and you can always control the speed yourself if you choose to by using the YouTube settings right there in the player. So that's always an option.
Yes. So you can watch us in any speed you want, and now you know how. See you in a second. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Boring Show with me and Andrew.
Today we're going to pick up where we left off in our last episode and continue the work we've been doing on using isolates in the Hacker News app.
Yes, and I think we should probably start, just in case you're watching this out of order, which, as Andrew said...
would be in keeping with a multi-threading based episode.
Yeah, it's very meta. If that's what you're doing, I think we should probably summarize the last episode. If that's not what you're not doing and you're actually binge watching Flutter Boring Show, in which case you're brave souls, thank you for that. You can probably, there's maybe right now there's like a huge number or like a minute and second mark in which you can skip to.
Maybe.
So we don't feel bad that
it's like skip intro you see on streaming video and other sites.
So skip to that, and then we'll reconvene with you. Cool. So binge watchers. So all right. What we were still doing the Hacker News app, and we thought since we're doing all this work on fetching and parsing the JSON from Hacker News API on the main thread, maybe we should do it on a separate thread. And threading in Dart is done via isolates, which are these, like, as you called it last time, like little boxes or like little universes of like computation and memory, which can only communicate with each other through little tunnels. And we implemented a worker class that basically wraps the whole like isolate creation, destruction, and so on, creating the thread and then removing it. And that's basically and we added a little test, and that's it. But I think I feel very optimistic about today's episode because I think we went through famous last words, but like we went through the main hurdles, and now it's just implementation.
I think where we left off, we had implemented a solution that as long as you only requested a refresh once at a time, it was fine. Right. Like if you made a request, it would give you a future.
Okay,
right?
So we aren't even there. I think we're still in the like we have a test. Wait, where's the test?
Have we lost our test? Worker test.
Oh, worker test, yes. And we were just, we had this. So we need to figure out how to actually do the work. But after that, I think we're good. And then we can deal with the scenario that Andrew is describing.
Okay.
So welcome back.
Now that we've gotten ourselves back up to speed.
Yeah. Okay, so this is actually really hard to test because we would have to give the worker some mock client or something to use for, or like at least a flag that says like, we don't want to do network connections in the test.
So we'd have to give our worker some kind of injected
but how do you
network library or something?
Yeah, but how do you inject a network library over an isolate?
Well, we have arguments that we send it at the beginning. We can send it some kind of... We should be able to send it an object that would get copied into memory.
So it would be using the main isolate's HTTP client? Is that a...
We could always just try it and see what's up.
Okay, so all right, my optimism is waning right now. This is really hard. Okay. So here we have our worker. Actually, let me just put it into a different file because this is getting out of hand. So worker Dart and hello there.
think we're laying a groundwork for a third episode in this arc is where we're going. We'll find out in an hour where we are.
Okay, completer. And then here where we're actually using it, we're not using it. Yes, okay. We're not using it yet. All right.
We should run that just to make sure that we're in a good state, just in case.
Yeah.
Like run the test.
Your level of confidence worries me, but that's fine. So, okay, so we now need to test this, and we need a mock HTTP client. Are we using a mock HTTP client here? No, this is just parsing.
I think we're actually getting the real business in that other one.
Really? No, I think this is like we just give it a string.
Yeah. It's an actual HTTP GET in that test.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought we got rid of it. Oh, we're skipping it.
Oh, okay.
That's why. All right. So, do we want to get into mocking HTTP requests? You know what?
Yeah, it's not that relevant for what we're trying to
Yeah.
get at in this one.
You know what? Testing is overrated. Let's just
Never before words spoken by Filip Project.
let's go to just implement this thing. So what we need to do is I actually sprinkled to-dos over all over the place. So here we have use worker here, because this is when we are refreshing. So when this happens, then we're running this asynchronous method. And we're doing we're getting, the provider will find out that we're actually loading something and blah, blah, blah. So here we can be, final worker is worker, right? And then we have to, what? We have to say worker dispose. All right. There should be a try catch and stuff like that, but all right. So then we are awaiting for worker is ready, because the worker needs to spin up the isolate and like handshake with it and so on. And then we are yeah. We still need to handle the Hacker News API exception and stuff like that. But basically what we want to do is to worker fetch IDs, stories type.
What's that about? Do we not currently fetch anything but the top stories?
I think, yeah, no. We're fetching, depending on this type of the actual tab, we're fetching the stories. So I need to get the fetch IDs from here, get IDs, and this is what it does. And this is how it creates the URL. So we can actually kind of put this into the worker, so we can just communicate with the worker like that. Why is there wow, interesting. So what is this?
You okay?
What is this? Was this like a callback to, oh, interesting. We are throwing a Hacker News API error. Anyway, so
but this is not in our worker right now, right?
Yeah, no. So we're going to, where do we have the get IDs here? Fetch IDs. So first of all, we are now getting stories type,
which this file doesn't know about.
Yeah.
And then we need the base URL.
Base URL is also from here, right? And I don't think we need it here at all, because the worker takes care of all of this.
Wait, hold on. Do we need it for the article search later? Because right now we're fetching the IDs, we're not fetching the whole articles.
Yeah. But
So if we wanted to do this one step at a time, we'd want to leave it here too.
Good
Just
point.
for now. You're right. It shouldn't be there in the long run. But
So here you go, worker. And so we now have a URL, and we actually send it to the port. And here's your caveat. And
me raining on everyone's parade.
yeah. So we have this. Let's see what dot analysis tells us. Yeah. All right. Testing.
Story type.
Yeah,
top.
but stories type top, but well, we can at least top stories. We could at least find out if it's complete. I mean, it's still going to make a request.
Yeah, there's no way to test it. To know what to expect.
At least maybe we can test that it spins up, like that ready completes.
Yes, we can definitely test that.
Okay. And at some point we'll get to the actual thing. So that's actually a good. I think it's a good episode. How do you mock things that are running on a different isolate?
So what is the concern that you have? Is it that at some point if we make a mock service object in this isolate, at some point we have to try and send it over to the other isolate, and at that point something could go wrong?
Yeah. I think I'm like trained to be wary of like what you send over the isolates, and mostly it's just like it should go through like primitives and stuff, right?
Because I know I have sent things like in a compute function. I have sent objects that don't have that much ongoing state to them, but still have multiple fields and things like that. They're not as intense as something that would have like an open stream connection or something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we can get to that. Worker is ready. Completes, right? And that's basically what we're testing.
I mean, you could do that one. You could also do fetch the data, and it'll be a flaky test. But you could just fetch the data and say, did you get one or more records?
That's what I meant. Yeah. What's called a null? Oh.
You got to await the is ready.
Right. Really?
That's.
Do I need to await the expect? Yeah. I mean,
test is async. Why?
Oh, you know what? Because I have the completes, and this doesn't await anything. Yeah, I think I just need to. That's a weird test then. If I just
so is ready completes to a true, right? So we can put true there and then awaits.
Well, it's just void. It just completes.
Oh, no wonder it's messed up. Okay.
But even if it did, it would not. This would not wait in the async function, right? You know what I mean?
Because it's running in a zone.
Well, there's no await here. There's no way where we can add an await in this line. So
you could put the await on the line above and then just have the test end. You know, just await a worker is ready and then worker.dispose, and that's your entire test.
Yeah.
And there is no expect.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the constant battle on the boring show of things that we can do properly and things we can do properly in an hour.
Yeah. It doesn't crack. Okay, I get it. All right. We have this. Right. Get IDs isn't used. And so we already have this in a different thing. I like this. We should probably reuse it. Oh, it's also parsing the stories? Oh, no, it's parsing the story ID. Sorry.
That was the original purpose of the isolate, right? Was to put the JSON parsing on a different
Right, yes.
background there.
So we are actually not, like, I think what we should do is not fetching IDs, we should fetch the articles, right? Like in the end, we'll just be calling one function or one method on the worker, and let's fetch articles, which will both find the IDs and then find the articles.
Return sort of hydrated articles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good point.
So deal with, okay.
I just put it everywhere, apparently.
Let's see. I copied the. So
that's why our test was passing last time. We were sending back an empty.
Yeah. Yes.
Basically
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're not actually doing any HTTP request yet from the isolate. So this is what I copied from here. Right. So I think what we need to do is we need to just handle this, right? So we are getting from the worker, we are getting the URL that we need to fetch. And right now, okay. So we will should I just add it here as a function, or like this feels weird to like have all this?
Yeah, we should make a separate function for it. You're right. Just make a private function in there.
So static, right? Static void, because can this be an async method?
Yeah, should be.
Okay, in that case, future
List
of
articles. Yeah.
or int so far. Get IDs.
Sure. And then take a story type or a URL. It's
I think at this point this is a URL.
URL. Okay.
So string URL, and then and it is async actually.
Let us use futures.
Yeah. We need HTTP.
Yeah, it's not going to know what that is. You have to do it manually.
Oh, okay. Import. Is this start HTTP?
This is a package, I think, isn't it? No, wait. So there's multiple ways you can do it. There's like the package HTTP.
Okay, let's see. Do we have a package?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nice. Package HTTP. I guess that's the IO
the one. No, we want I always import just HTTP.
Oh, okay.
And then do it as HTTP.
HTTP. Nice.
Puts everything in its own little namespace.
So okay. Socket exception. Why are you not? What?
So error.
Why isn't?
What is the socket exception?
Yeah, and why does it work here?
Is it from Dart.io?
Oh, it's from Flutter. Bin cache.
That's got to be Dart.io.
Oh.
Do you want to scroll up here and see where the file is?
Yeah. Huh. So what happens if I just import Dart.io? Okay. So
that was interesting.
ID just didn't know what to do, and we have this error thing. Maybe I'll just copy it over this one.
How did that end up?
I don't know. It's a convenience, I guess, for this, but maybe it's better at this point to be like more, because
I don't know if we need a separate function there.
Yeah.
No disrespect to whoever wrote that originally.
Yeah.
It may have been me.
This may be me too. Stories at URL couldn't be fetched.
I feel like we're throwing the same exception in any case.
Yeah.
So that if we're going to separate these, we should have different messages. So that one should be like couldn't connect or something.
Yeah, socket
or
exception.
Maybe socket exception has some additional info on it. You could actually catch the object itself.
Yeah. Catch E. Like this.
Does it have any properties?
Oh.
Put the braces on, yeah. Message.
Address.
Port. So it's like the stuff that you were trying to do.
Yeah. And I think it should have a like sane to string.
Yeah.
So you know what, like this. URL couldn't be fetched.
There we go. Perfect.
And then this one is URL.
Yeah, this is a more
URL returned non
something went wrong with the API.
HTTP 200.
Or you gave me the wrong URL or something.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And then it's still yelling at us about something.
Oh, it's
back in the file.
this is so I think we can.
You're just gonna kill that whole method, right?
Yes. So let me just put it here so we don't. Okay, parse story IDs. Parse story IDs. Nice. And I also, this is a response. I think I like this to be typed. Thank you. Oh, HTTP response.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So actually, this could work already, right? We're getting IDs. We're not using it, but we could be like, we could even do this. Await get IDs URL. But that's I think it's less readable than final IDs is this, and then just send IDs, right? Oh, the message is the URL. Message. Okay. All right. Shall we?
Sure.
Just to make sure. So we are creating the worker. We're waiting for it to be ready. Then we are using the worker to fetch the IDs. Then we're not using the worker to update to get articles,
which we will eventually.
Yeah. Right. And then we're disposing of the worker. Okay. Let's do it. Hot restart. All right.
Try refreshing. Oh, what happened?
Deserialization error.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Just keep going, yeah.
No, we should.
We need to fix this when we do this, but
this is get article. Yeah, okay. We'll get to it. Seen. Yeah.
Man.
That's fine.
I think it's fine. Yeah,
no.
deserializing null to articles. So we gotta catch that.
Yeah.
Because it's been in this for like 7 episodes now.
Yeah. It's haunting us.
But that's only like 7 hours of coding time, so it's really not that bad.
So we have fetch IDs. I think we should make this private and create a fetch, which will give us
that'll fetch the articles.
Yes, future fetch.
Articles. List articles.
Thank you for being here.
List articles. Or list article, right?
Oh yes. See, I'm. This is early morning for me, I guess. Article fetch and storage type. Yay! And then we are. This is going to be async, of course. And it could be a stream. No.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, so IDs. So final IDs is just
Fetch IDs, right?
Yeah, fetch IDs of type. Now we have IDs, and
So
now
I'll make that private. You were talking about doing that earlier. Just
yes.
Magic of the underscore.
It's gonna
What just happened?
No, you know what? Because we are using it from here. So now we're going to be like, why is it update articles? I don't understand.
Maybe it's updating the article list that's held in memory.
Yeah, but no, this is a pure function. So articles is await worker fetch stories type. It also
So get rid of the
looks
line
better.
above, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So we have this, and helpfully that tells us, hey, you're not actually returning the articles, are you? And so we get the update articles, which is, let's unwrap this. So we have the IDs, it's a list of int. Then we map it to, okay, so we get all the articles. Looks like one by one. Map doesn't do
I think it's a
asynchronous
separate
map.
call for each one.
Yeah. Which we could maybe like fetch them in parallel, making everything faster.
Oh, and do like a future.wait.
Yeah.
All right. That'd be something good to show.
And then
We are doing future.wait.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
Nice job.
Yeah.
2 months ago, us.
Yes. Or someone. All where title isn't null. Right. So I think I like this function. I will just steal it to the worker. And then I don't know why it's called update articles. I think it should be called get articles.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's definitely nothing to be updated in this class, right?
Yes. And so actually we can just do return get articles with IDs, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now our fetch is now very nice. So and now we just need the get article for all of these, which again we'll steal. Oh yeah, looks much nicer now. Also, okay, before I forget,
You have that sitting in your clipboard.
yeah. And oh yeah, and we're caching. And I think, oh wait, the worker can be caching.
Yeah.
We kill it.
Oh goodness, no, wait, hold on. Cached articles is that caching to the database that we put into the app?
Yeah. So we, what I suggest, we return all the articles. Oh damn! Yeah.
For right now, I would just say, give us the type of article you want. We will give you the articles. If you want to cache them to the database, that is on you. And
then you can send us the article IDs that are cached, maybe, or something.
I would just have the worker fetch them fresh for right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there are.
Yes.
I was just looking yesterday at an issue that somebody filed about calling into native plugins from a secondary isolate, which I believe is what More is doing, the database plugin. And so I don't know that we want to try caching things using that, if that is what the cached articles is all about, and it's not just an in-memory cache.
I think it's an in-memory cache.
Okay.
See, it's just wait.
We deleted the cache.
No, see, this is just a map.
Okay. Well, that's boring. In that case, we can do that.
Yeah, and I really think we should cache it here because it makes everything faster. So we, like the articles itself, they don't change. The IDs change, but the articles themselves normally don't. Or do we? I don't know.
So we know the article by the ID, don't we?
Yeah, But
So the ID changes.
Yeah, but the whole structure of the article with like the title and these things like that almost never changes. Like during the, like if you have an article with an ID 1000, it will be the same article 5 minutes from now.
I thought you were saying the opposite of that just a second ago. Just the IDs change.
No. Okay, we want...
So, okay.
Right now we
Hold
just
on.
don't want to...
Time out. Let me make sure I understand. So you were saying... you were talking about keeping the cache of articles on the app side, and the main isolate side, or the secondary isolate side?
The main isolate side.
Okay. Would we still... Okay, if it's on the main isolate side, how do we use that in the worker to not fetch the articles we already have?
So my solution would be to... when we're fetching the IDs, we would have another send to the isolate, which would be, by the way, these are the IDs that I have already cached. So if you find these IDs, don't fetch them. That's fine. Which it makes everything harder though, because then on the, like, you have to have business logic on the worker side, which says, oh, they already have that ID, so I don't send it. And then here we would have to merge what we have with what we don't have. You know what? Let's not cache.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not cache at all, or not cache on this side?
Not cache at all.
Okay.
For now. At some point we can go into this trap. So we do that.
No cache. We don't live in the past. That's always fresh data.
So now we need a list, I guess. No, we don't.
Wait, no, this is just one article. Yeah.
Oh, this is just one article. So we need to do...
You're just going to return that, yeah.
That seems weird to me. Also, why aren't you seeing... Oh, do I have a hanging... Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay.
Okay, so let's look at the exceptions here, because this is where we're getting that annoying exception.
Yeah.
I think we should get rid of it.
Yeah, we are getting an exception from here. Also, this is not documented at all. So I think what we are catching here and rethrowing immediately is the parse error. Parse article.
Yeah, that would be it, because it gets a null back for the body. Where Hacker News is like, I had the article, but now I don't. So here's a null for the article content.
Oh, okay, yeah. And so I wish I remember what the error was. I clear the
it's a deserializer error. It's a build value going, I don't know what to do with this null.
Catch the JSON.
I bet the build value docs would tell him.
Okay, build value, where are you? Or maybe it's JSON decode? No, it's here, right? It's here.
Actually, it could be in JSON decode, because what is JSON decode going to do with a null?
Well, we don't get a null here, do we?
I mean, we could just, any exception we get there is going to be JSON related, because that's the only thing going on, right? So you could just do...
What happens is that I think we get the error here, and this is like, it's already has the JSON, but it wants to create the article build value from that JSON, and I think that's what happens. You know what? I'm sure it'll crop up soon. No.
I was just going to say, the only error we could get there is a deserialization error, right? And I don't think we really care about it beyond the fact that it is a deserialization error. I don't think we're going to want to print to the log, oh, this was null, or oh, this wasn't null, but it's missing field blah dot blah dot blah, or something like that.
Right. Yeah, totally. I'm just looking at, this one. right? That's what we saw.
Yeah, so it could either be that, or it could be something that JSON decode is throwing.
I will, we want to catch like anything. So let's just do this. What do you think?
So we need on deserialization error, right?
Oh yeah. And be like, we don't return anything, or we
got to return something. We got a future. We got to complete with something, right?
we can throw, and then here somewhere we can be like, we can catch error
throw
here.
a Hacker News API exception and be like, article does not exist or something.
Oh yes.
Article not found, maybe.
Oh, we have an status code there.
Yeah, because I think it sends a 404 down or something like that.
Oh, so should I just do it?
Actually, do we test for a 404 in there? Do we like actually check? No, it says...
No, we just, if it's not 200.
So it's coming through as 200 and not... Okay. Weird. Just say 200, I guess, and then in comma messages, article is null or something like that.
Yeah, also message is not int. So
article was not parsable.
Article was not parseable.
Sure.
All right. And I don't think we're actually catching it, but at least we now know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So we're returning. We have this. Is that it?
And then where are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not try catching here. Right? We should probably do that either here or here.
So this is interesting. Go into future.wait. What's going on in there? Okay.
Oh, if any of the provided futures fail. Okay, so when any of the articles errors, then we don't get any of the articles.
I think that's only if eager error is true. So if eager error is true, the returned future completes with an error immediately on the first error. Otherwise, all futures must complete before the returned future.
If any future completes with an error, then the returned future completes with that error. So this one will like do all of them.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay, so if any of them fail, then the whole thing. Oh,
yeah.
Then the whole thing fails. That is.
Yeah.
How do we deal with this? Do we use like a side effect? Do we have somewhere in the chain we do map? We like make a list above, and then somewhere in this chain where we're mapping and doing wearing or something, we do like a for each, and then we add the parsed article to the list. You know?
Right.
What is the correct way to do this? There's also future.for each. There's two ways to do it. One is future.await, and then there's also like a future.for each or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Look up in the future. Yeah, there's like for each, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Perform an action for each element of the iterable in turn.
Yeah, but that's, I think, going to be doing the requests, waiting for the request to come back in serial.
Yeah.
But as long as the requests are begun in parallel, I don't think it matters that we're processing the return results in serial.
So do you want to go back to serial? Now we're doing a parallel thing with wait, but it is worrying that anytime there's bad article, we'll just bail. Again, for the right thing to do would be do something else, but maybe we just at least don't throw and we give you the error, and we'll lose all the articles so far, and the user can restart the fetch. I know it's bad, but
there's got to be a better way to do that.
I mean, we can make our own weight, right? We could create something like this, but like, good luck with that, right? Which does not.
You know, it's a complicated method that's important when it's like half comments.
Yeah.
Why don't so future.wait, if you scroll back up real quick. So okay, if any future completes with an error, then the returned future, so the return value of future.wait will be an error.
That error, yes.
However, as long as eager error is false, all futures must complete before the returned future is completed. So should we not be able to say, okay, we're going to have a list above, we're going to declare a list above, and then as part of the future processing thing, just add them to the list. And then as long as eager error is false, we know all the ones have completed. If they got to that last step of being added to the list, then they were processed correctly.
Okay.
And what do you think?
Yeah, it's a little hacky, but let's do it.
We should. This would be one of those threads that we start with some of the Eng team, and we get like 4 different answers.
So this is a list of articles. And then here.
And you do like a for each at the end, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah. So we are like, first get article. Oh, you know what? So our article is get article, and then results at article, and then
we need to wait on get article, I think.
Oh,
right. So I was imagining doing map and then getting, instead of the where, just do a for each, because you should be able to do a for each on the iterable returned by the map.
Okay.
So you map from an ID to the future of the article, and then you do a dot for each, and I believe you can then do.
Right. Well, so we're waiting in here right now. This is all this does is it creates some futures, and then it all gets here. Sure. I mean, if it crashes, like what I'm doing now is like I can totally do async here, right? And
do a wait.
And if it crashes here, it crashes in the middle. It will not add it to the result.
And you can get rid of the return.
Well, you want to. Oh yeah.
So we get a future void at that point, right? The return value of map.
Right. We're still trying to find out if the article is null.
We don't care about that though, right? Because they'll get filtered out in between those two statements.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right? Because if the article would have been null, it'll never get added to the list. And then in the end, we're just using we're going to do the await.
Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Wait, no. The map was fine. Map was fine.
But map should return something else, right? It shouldn't return void.
What's a future void? Right?
Okay.
And then we're mapping from a list of article IDs to a list of future voids. You're right, this is kind of hacky.
Okay.
And then our results is what we return.
Okay.
So after future void, right?
Oh, yeah.
Why did that work?
Yeah.
And then so we'd still have the await statement. We just do the await, and then we would after the await, we just return results.
Right. Filtered is not all, but it's results, right? We need to make sure that the title isn't. Some of them have title null, and then we do this.
And then the var all we don't need anymore. We're just awaiting.
Phew.
See if this actually works. Okay, now I've talked you into it.
All right, let's do this. So
let's do full hot restart just for funsies.
Hot restart.
There was data.
Nice.
I see data. Let's see if it actually. Oh.
Hacker News. Okay. That's good. So
why is it breaking there now that we like? Why?
No. We're throwing this. So
yeah.
We're not actually. We haven't been.
Do you have like stop on exception or anything?
We still. Well, it's unhandled. Like we're not handling it at all right now.
Oh, okay, that's why.
So
your common sense surprises and frightens me.
So, I think here we need to do try. Right.
Okay, wait a second.
What are we waiting for?
So where are we right now? Future articles. So
here we are throwing the exception. I think it's got we're throwing an exception.
Right.
That this cannot be done.
Oh, we need it in. We can do it in here.
Yes. So
inside that map, we can do try, and then we can just
actually,
not add it if there's an exception.
You know what? Since we're already we're doing all this work to ignore the error, can we just ignore the error here?
We have to complete the future with something, right?
Yeah. So let's maybe here.
Right. We could do a try catcher on this, and then in the catch we could just in the wrap that whole thing in a try catch, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let me. Oh no.
We should just
yeah. So try.
Right. And then I sent the whole thing. The results.add article 2. And then that's the thing that doesn't happen if there's an exception.
Right.
And then
and we are only catching sorry. No. You're good.
Thoroughly confused.
Or was I? Yeah. So on the Hacker News exception.
Hacker News API exception, right?
We're like
whatever.
Yeah, should we log at least? Print. Catch error.
I mean, we're just logging the exception we just made, right? Yeah.
Right.
And then I think that will work.
Oh no.
Dude, we just killed the app.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I killed it, but
did you? The stop thing is still lit up.
Oh really?
That's weird.
No. I relaunched it by doing this because it was
the bane of the hard restart.
Yeah.
Is there a term for that? There's hot restart, full restart, I guess what people say.
Yeah, hot restart, and then this is
there we go.
Cool. All right.
Do you want to pull it down and just make sure?
I'm afraid.
You never know. There we go.
That's good.
All right. Seems like data changed there.
That's awesome. Okay. We're no longer caching, but that's fine. It's all on the islet. Let's make sure. Okay. So we are just creating a worker, waiting until it spins up. Then we are actually hopefully making sure the exceptions are. And we're fetching. We first fetch the IDs, and then we get the articles. The IDs we know. The articles are. We're kind of doing this a little hacky thing. We should probably document this. So.
If you can think of a better way to do this, let us know.
Yes, please. We are running the fetch of each article in parallel with future wait. Here we we ignore or we catch Hacker News APIs exceptions, so that one API exception doesn't
go unhandled, or
that doesn't stop the whole fetch, something like this. I'm not good at that kind of thing, but okay. So we're here. We're future articles. We're returning just the ones that have a title. I think this is pretty solid. Okay, we have this skeleton, and we have on error for correct exception handling in the isolate. Yeah, you can have, when you spawn an isolate,
oh, that's right.
You can give an on error.
Yeah, we're not handling the fact that the isolate might throw an unhandled exception.
Yes.
Nor are we handling the fact that the isolate might not be created correctly.
That's true. So is this all the to-dos? I think so. So I mean, since handle exceptions of HTTP GET. Oh, we don't handle that even. Does this throw an error? I think so, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Also, this creates a new HTTP client every time we do anything.
And you can create a long-lived one.
Yeah.
Well, just like we're using a new worker every time we do a refresh, which we shouldn't really do.
Well,
we should have a long-lived worker.
That's true, but the client is more like, if you get 20 articles and you're creating client every.
It's not as bad as one per request like we were doing at one point, but
yeah, in
the real world, you would more than likely want a long-living request to help you with these things.
But okay, let's. So we talked about errors.
Mm-hmm.
We have the isolate. Right now, the isolate actually, I don't like how we're mixing. Like this is happening in the no, this is not happening in the isolate. Is it?
Where are we? You're in worker, right?
Yeah, but like there's the part of the worker like in it which happens outside the isolate, and then there's the part of the worker that is created through here, and I think.
You might want to.
Yeah,
there are ways to separate. Have like an inner worker that your static method creates one and then starts delegating stuff to it.
Yes.
I should point out, by the way, we're encroaching an hour.
Oh yes. All right. So what do we want to tackle? Do we want to tackle something?
I was going to suggest cleaning up the to-dos that we have, that like the HTTP exceptions, and then maybe call it a shoot.
All right. Yeah. So I don't actually know if it throws and what. Because
Dart does not mandate that you say which exceptions you throw.
Yep.
Which was subject of an interesting thread with Bob up in Seattle. Let's talk about that.
I'm actually glad, but it's a heated debate, I guess. So. Argument error, I don't think that. Okay, new request. Yeah. There's all these. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, we've got to try catch in there anyway, right? Can we just move in our code? Can we just move the get into that umbrella?
Well. Yeah, we could catch a lot of things, but like I like how this is, like we only really catch that deserialization error because we know it's there. We shouldn't be just catching willy-nilly everything.
True. I mean that's fine, but if we're already doing on deserialization error, right?
Yeah.
Then we could have, in addition to this, we could just have general network error or something like that, right? So you can move the try up over the get.
Okay.
You can still check your status code and throw in that case, right? And then that would get moved down to a new Yeah.
Um,
I completely messed this up. Why is the try giving us... Okay, can't find.
Yes. So now we're doing try all that. Yeah, throw here. And if there's a deserialization error, then that's that.
And then under that, we would need a new one to catch any generic network error.
Okay.
So catch EX and just make a new...
Like every error?
This would be catching... Oh, maybe there's a network error. You're right. Is there a network exception for HTTP or HTTP is... Do HTTP dot... That would give us the...
Okay, on HTTP dot.
Client exception, I bet that's it.
Okay.
Exception caused by an error in a package HTTP client. Yeah.
Okay.
And you could just do throw Hacker News API exception, or you could just throw the client's exception. I don't know what you want to do.
Well, I think... Well, it's still an exception. I don't... Like, this should be maybe something else than have a 200.
Yeah, because it's not the API necessarily that's the problem at that point.
Yeah.
It could be like you started this and then you went into a tunnel.
Right.
I like to carry my phone into tunnels a lot.
Right. But like it's still something that we want to catch, right?
No, we definitely want to catch it.
So do we just like let it pass and then catch this somewhere up there? Or do we want to wrap it with something like
Yeah, I would
this?
do that and throw like a 0 for the code, or can something like that.
Yeah. We could also, like, I was thinking maybe this should be like that, actually. Right?
It's going to mess up some calls we have to go fix, but you're right.
But that's...
Yeah, that's fine.
So...
Code?
Status code. Message. Status code. Message.
What just happened?
Well, your computer just woke up. Wow. Andrew's computer is dead, and now it's turning undead, I guess.
Yeah, we're having some interesting... just rebooted. Just no biggie. Wait
a minute. Oh, okay. Status code we don't need here. And the message was...
connection exception?
Connection failed.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So that's one to-do item. Do we have another...
yeah, that one, that's outside scope for today. That ship has sailed for right now.
And then there's this one, provide owner for correct exception in the isolate. I mean, yeah.
You'd want to log it. I mean, what else are you going to do, right? If the isolate itself just has an unhandled exception, you'd want to at least log it.
Yeah, which, I mean, that would probably happen if we don't have an on error. It would just like, it would be the same, I think. But
well, if we catch it here, then it doesn't escape to our main isolate and become an unhandled error for the application, I believe. So if we want to just say, if some...
It's a send port. Wait a minute. I want on error. Okay, if are provided, the SO will act as if, respectively, shall debug. I don't know why we get a send error. I mean, I don't know why. I thought we would get...
It's a port to receive the errors. What do you... I keep...
Port. So, all right. I think we can just do...
So we would make a new receive, like an error port.
Final error port. receive port, and here error port, send port, and here.
And then you would do receive port or error port dot listen and just log it, right?
Listen. Print.
Works for me.
All right. Yeah. One of these days we could have actually our error handling in the like logging to Sentry.io or some of these other things. But I think we have that. Let's hot restart the app again. If everything works, it looks like it does. Yes.
Still okay?
All right, cool. Well, we're at time. I think we're happy, right?
We still have one architectural issue that we might want to deal with at some point.
Yeah.
If we wanted to have a long-lived worker that dealt with multiple requests. As of right now, we're only ever making one request per worker, so it's not an issue though.
Yeah. But yes, we can look into that back into that. But what we have is we have a bunch of work has made it to a separate worker. I mean, separate isolate. It's on a different thread, and therefore our app is now. Will not change even if you're parsing like a huge something coming from the API.
Yeah, if Hacker News starts adding like multi-megabyte text fields to each article, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. So cool. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. And I think that's gonna be something else than isolates.
Probably. We're out of knowledge on isolates, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, see ya.
See ya.